Hey guys, it's Tim. Time for another Daily Rift. I'm still playing my Barbarian on EU, and I'm, to be honest with you, having quite a good time on it. A little bit more fun than I was on my Crusader. Ooh, no. But, so that's why I've been playing my Barbarian actually quite a bit. So that's what I'm going to be doing this Rift with here too. Some pretty cool stuff coming out, or not really yet. I mean, you guys mostly saw, especially if you watched some of my other videos, the minor changes that really came out with the last patch 2.0.6. There wasn't anything too exciting. They changed the crafting stuff. That was probably the biggest thing. And then apparently they increased the drop chance for set items too. I haven't really noticed that though. I don't think I've found any set items on my guys since the patch. So yeah, I'm sure that they did improve it, but I just have not gotten the right luck on it, unfortunately. But there was a stream, Diablo, a couple of developers, the community manager, and then a couple of fans, I think, were doing like the Theorycraft Thursday, where they pick someone with with the kind of a unique build, and then they stream with them. They stream for a little bit. They just kind of talk about Diablo stuff that's going on in the game and stuff. Some pretty cool stuff that's on there. I've not got a chance to watch the whole thing. But there are some pretty cool things on the horizon, as we've kind of already talked about too. Tiered rifts are one of them. They did mention a little bit more about that. What they're going to have in store for legendary gems too. Yes, you heard that right. Legendary gems. They want legendary gems. From the sounds of it, it's maybe going to be available on like amulets and rings. I don't know how I feel about that. I thought Josh Mosquera said something about how legendary gems may or may not address the emerald in weapon issue. So I'm not sure how gems and rings or amulets would affect that, I guess. In fact, it depends on how they do it. Maybe it's actually going to make it even worse, and it's going to start requiring that you have sockets in your amulets and your gems. I don't know how I really feel about that. I'm sure they'll do something better than just suddenly making it a requirement that you have sockets in your rings and amulets too. That would be awful. So then that makes all the rings and amulets that you find that are really bad even that much worse if they don't have a socket in them already, you know. But nah, I'm sure it won't be that bad. I'm sure they have something else in store that'll be a lot better. Maybe like you can add the gems no matter what's on there. Like it's basically like applying an enchant or something. That might be kind of cool, I suppose. Oh, but some of the other stuff. Tiered rifts. They talked about tiered rifts. Apparently, monsters in tiered rifts are not going to be dropping loot. However, tiered rift bosses are going to have like a really high chance to do, like gems, of course, stuff like that. Like, but legendaries and crafting with like recipes and stuff like that, you know. So apparently they're supposed to have like a much higher chance to actually drop good stuff than the other stuff, to help kind of make up for the fact that none of the monsters in the rifts are going to be, or the tiered rifts are going to be dropping anything. I think that's cool. I mean, like you want it to be fun to just blast through the rifts and not worry about loot. You don't want it like, oh my god, there's stuff dropping all over the place and I really want to pick it up, but I can't. I got to get through this tiered rift. So I think that makes perfect sense for the monsters to not drop loot. I think it is going to have to be like a much bigger drop chance than like Rift Guardians, like normal Rift Guardians, because like you're giving up a lot of monsters. Like you're giving up like what, like 1,000 kills for a chance of loot, just until you get to the tiered Rift Guardian. So I don't know. It will be interesting to see what happens with that. I'm kind of excited about tiered rifts. Kind of. I'm excited that it's like another pretty fun thing to do. I don't know how excited I am about like the competitive side of it. I have the tendency to get really competitive, and I don't know if I really want to get competitive with that stuff. So it's probably going to be tough for me to control myself when it comes to those things, and I'm not necessarily looking forward to it for that reason then. But no, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fun. Let's see, what else did they talk about? They talked about a couple other things. Besides the tiered rifts, they talked about the gems. Oh, this was really cool. So apparently they're looking at the Hellfire ring encounters, right? The Ubers and stuff. I made a video about that. Feel free to check that out. But apparently they're going to be revamping that. They want to address basically like the whole encounter and the reward structure of it. I think it definitely needs to be addressed. Absolutely, positively addressed. The main issue that I have with it though right now is that the Hellfire ring, as it stands, is potentially a very cool item, but it just does not deliver on any level that it needs to. The main issue, and I know if you've stopped by the stream before, you've heard me talk about this because a lot of people do still ask about the Hellfire ring. It is unfortunately not worth the time because, well, for a couple different reasons. The number one reason is that it is a complete random roll. So all the stats on it are random except for one. Well, no, except for like a couple, right? Like you get the guaranteed Hellfire pool. You get that all the time, and you get a guaranteed experience bonus. But besides that, it's all completely random. So one of the problems with legendaries is, excuse me, you work really hard to get them, and then when one drops, there's the chance on some of them that it could roll very poorly, and be completely worthless. Now, we're willing to accept that on a lot of things because, number one, they've addressed legendary drop rates and stuff. So when you find a bad legendary, you're like, ah, crap, it's really, really bad. But it's cool because you know that the next legendary is like right around the corner. It's like, hey, you know what, but my next one could be really cool. Well, the Hellfire ring is completely random, and so it could be really bad, just like all the other ones, except your next Hellfire ring is not just around the corner. It's like another day's worth of time spent farming more and more materials, right? So when you get a really bad one, it's really disappointing. It's like a major bummer because you just spent a lot of time. You probably asked some favors of some friends. Hey, can you come help me kill the Ubers on Torment 6 and stuff like that, you know? So you called in some favors. You were really excited to do it. It was a really fun encounter. And then your reward is basically a forgotten soul. That is a really big bummer. So, and that's only half of the reason that the ring is not worth it. The other half of the reason is that even if you get a really good ring, it is only as good as the stats that you actually roll on it. The actual buff, or not the buff, the actual ability on it is not very good. That is the real problem behind it. Now, just the randomness of getting a good Hellfire ring is you know, bad enough, right? But I could deal with that if the bonus, or if like the ability on it were really good, or was really good. It looks really cool, but it's really not good at all. The problem with it is there is an internal cooldown. It seems like there's an internal cooldown of about like 30 to 45 seconds on that thing. I counted, I think, from between 30 to 45 seconds between activations of that thing. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And it actually only, like, it doesn't even hit very hard. Okay, so here's what you have with the, like the actual ability. It does 200% weapon damage to everything standing in the pool of lava over, I think it's 6 seconds. 6 seconds. Seriously, you guys. My bash does more damage than that. I could use cleave. It does, hold on, it does 150. I could use the lightning one. It does more in one swing to multiple monsters than the Hellfire ring proc will do. 200% is not good over 6 seconds. If it was like an instant hit, right? Let's say it worked differently and it was a 200% like AE fireball, similar to what it used to be. That would be probably a little bit better. A little bit better. It probably won't be as cool. I like the lava on the ground idea. I think it looks really awesome. But it would be just a little bit better because it would be just boom 200%. But the really important reason that it's not good is the internal cooldown that apparently is on that thing. You have to wait way too long for that thing to proc. And when it does proc, it does not impact your damage output very significantly at all. like I've played with this thing. I've tested it. It was really disappointing. I had like bad rings that were better to use than, unfortunately, the Hellfire ring, because the proc was just not worth it. If the proc did either, number one, a lot of damage, or number two, had a very low cooldown, then it would be really more worth using. I would prefer that they did the cooldown route, that they removed most of the cooldown. It doesn't have to do a ton of damage, I don't think, for it to be actually useful, if you can almost always have it up. And so let's say it does 200% weapon damage over 6 seconds, and it has, like, let's just throw it out there that it has a 10-second internal cooldown, right? So when you hit and it procs, it's going to be there on the ground, and it's going to sit there for 6 seconds. There's going to be 4 seconds that you will not have that pool up. I think that would be a lot closer to something that would be usable than what it is right now. The way it is right now is, when you hit it, it's there for 6 seconds doing minor damage, and then at the end of it, you have to wait like 30 to 45 seconds for it to proc again. That's way too long. Way too long. So, I don't know. Basically what I'm trying to say is, it sounds like they're going to be addressing the Hellfire ring. I hope that they actually address the real Hellfire ring as it is right now. Make it better, make it more useful, make it fun, make it a real reward. Because right now it's just not. Even if you get a really good roll, you're only going to be able to use it if the actual roll on it is better than any other ring that you got. And that's a complete random chance, just like super random. You have more luck going with like a Bulk Hathos wedding ring, because that thing is like, I think it has crit damage on it all the time. So that's better than the Hellfire ring, in all actuality, unless you really just want the experience buff. Because the proc isn't worth it, and the complete random chance at stats means you're probably not going to get a really amazing ring. And the amount of work that goes into it means that you won't be able to farm up a ton of the Hellfire rings either. So, but wow, I got to step down from that soapbox there. But what I want to talk about then, just briefly here, now that I killed the Rift Guardian, is that they also talked about a Hellfire amulet. So possibly another reward that, and get this, this sounds really cool. One of the bonuses on the amulet could be something like you are granted like a random passive ability for your class. So like if I rolled one up on my barbarian, this is just how I think it might work, right? Or how it could potentially work. I roll up a Hellfire amulet, and it randomly selects relentlessness, so that as long as I use that, I always have relentlessness. So that means that frees up that passive. Amazing. That's a great freaking idea. How cool is that? That gives you like, there's a touch of randomness to it, because it's a random passive. You could get a bad one that you don't want, but it's still a cool ability. Even if you get like Juggernaut, that's still really cool. Even if like you don't like Juggernaut, you still get it. That's actually useful. Even if it's a not so good passive ability. And it also gives you another reason to keep farming them too, because you want to keep farming them, just to kind of see which other ones you can get. Like I really want to get like a really good one, like Relentlessness, so it frees up my passive, so my character becomes even more powerful. It's a really fun way to make your character more powerful. So I hope that they stick with an idea somewhat along those lines. I think that's a really cool idea. It like gives you a passive ability just for wearing the item. Cool. Very cool. I like that. So I'm really looking forward to that, actually. I'm kind of a fan of the Hellfire ring idea, where you have to go kill these monsters, get the keys, put them together, go kill some uber bosses, put some materials together to craft something. That kind of like adventure, that quest, is kind of cool. I kind of like that. I don't like it being a requirement. I don't think it should be so freaking good that you have to do it, or your character will suffer. But I think that I think that is a step in the right direction regarding the Hellfire adventures, the Hellfire quests. So yeah, definitely something to look forward to. So on the horizon, we got seasons, ladders, we got Hellfire ring updates, we got more legendary updates. Oh yeah, they did mention that they're going to be looking at older legendaries too and kind of revamping some of them. Very cool. And they have, as I see, so tiered rifts, seasons, ladders, legendary revamps. They constantly are improving legendary drop chances. They just increased the set item drop chances, so that's very cool. They're revamping some of the bad sets as well. They just got done revamping the monk ones, so that's really cool. Hopefully they add in the Nemesis thing. You guys have heard about the Nemesis. Maybe I'll talk about that some other time. But the Nemesis idea from the console, hopefully they'll bring that in, if that's really cool. So a lot of really cool stuff still on the horizon. I don't know. I know I don't have to tell you guys, but I love where Diablo 3 is right now. It's a lot of fun. I'm having a blast with my Barbarian. I'm looking forward to seasons and maybe doing this Torment 6 challenge, not only finishing with my Barbarian, but also doing it with another class too. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and be sure to check out the next one. Hit subscribe, hit like, all that fun stuff, and check out the stream at twitch.tv/IamTheMatrix. Have a good one.